Hi, I'm Joel Wood.
I'm
and
Joel Kopperud.
We are the two Joels in between two non-existent ferns. Welcome. So last year at our legislative summit, Joel, you invited your friend Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey to come. He spoke. He was very impressive. He's a really engaging, friendly, fun, gregarious, smart guy with a great record as mayor of Newark. So what happened on that exactly? He seems kind of angry these days.
He's a little angry. I think Brett Kavanaugh's getting him stirred up. Him and Kamala Harris and all his friends on Judiciary.
Well, yeah, you got three of your tribe that are running for president who are members of the Judiciary Committee that are outmaneuvering one another for who can be the most outraged by all of this. So,
right.
All right, so that's our political environment.
As the White House implodes, yeah. So Congress is back. It's back to school week for Congress, right? It's going to be an interesting month. They're here for 15 days total. I think there's 14 days left, and they have a lot to accomplish in those 14 days. They have to fund the federal government. They have to pass FAA reauthorization. There's a couple other pieces of must-pass legislation, but really for us, it's just, I mean, it's for them, it's end of the quarter, it is fundraising season, and we are just running around from event to event to event, seeing and being seen and getting our message out there. I can tell you from the events that I've been to, there's a bunch of anxiety over what's happening to the party, right? We had a big loss. We lost a big, smart member of ours from Massachusetts, Mike Capuano, yesterday.
I agree. For Republicans like me who are trying to wrap my head around the potential for Democratic control of the House, I was comforted by the fact that Mike Capuano, who quite the liberal Democrat, but a thoughtful guy on business issues, he's been someone that has been very responsive to us on insurance issues, would have been in line to be the insurance subcommittee chairman of the House Financial Services Committee. He's knocked off by yet another Medicare for All
Well,
candidate.
no, not really. So I had coffee today actually with Seth Moulton's chief of staff, who used to work for his new incoming replacement, and she says that
You're getting down in the weeds.
In the weeds a little bit, but not to read the messages. Don't read too much into this. That all the writing you'll see is that the party is shifting to the left, and there's this big anti-establishment movement. But if you look down into race by race by race, that's not necessarily happening. And I'm hearing this over and over again. That for all of our anxiety over Medicare for All and all of our anxiety over the herbal tea party of the left taking over, this could be a wave election, but we could also view as a receding of the last wave election. I mean, if there's anything that's going to happen, we are actually going to see a re-emergence of blue dogs. We're going to see a lot more conservative Democrats, and this could be the building of the center again.
You've got all the talking points down.
I'm just saying, we'll see what happens.
All your candidates are running on Medicare for All, so we're supposed to ignore that?
When we got 20 plus members saying they are not going to support the current Democratic majority in the next Democratic House, that's I think, positive sign for the business community.
That'll be interesting. All right, let's get down into some specific developments. Certainly, since we last did a video, the most important thing has been on the tax reform side. So our members are in different tranches. Certainly those that benefited from the C Corporation lowering of the rate dramatically. Those who are private equity fueled firms that were dinged, but not nearly as badly as it could have been. Yeah. And then 2/3 of our member firms that are characterized as pass-through entities, subchapter S LLCs, and we, among the Cliff's Notes version of this is that among all the various services, entities, and professions, the doctors got screwed, the lawyers got screwed, the accountants got screwed. The only two exceptions that were made in the services industry for pass-through relief, if you're not a very small business, which we don't represent, are insurance brokerage firms and real estate firms. So that's a big win for us. On the other hand, there's still some rulemaking. We're engaged with our member firms right now who are pass-throughs about the provision in the proposed regulations by the IRS that would address consulting fees and the percentage that can be managed through that so that you can continue to get the pass-through relief. So that's a big issue.
This was a big win, and we got to give some credit to all of our allies on the Hill that we talked to on this all in the spring. We were with the industry allies, but this was, it was a Republican bill, it was a Republican solution, and we talked to all the Republican conferees, and we had a lot of key senators chime in on our behalf. And it was a very fruitful effort.
And we were very actively engaged with Treasury as well. And it does go back to the political thoughts as well. The old line we keep repeating, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Right. We are going to all of these events right now, and I think that did pay off in the event of in the case of that pass-through issue, but again, not completely over with. Let's talk about healthcare related issues. we don't expect anything to happen before the election. Probably the biggest development this past week was at the U.S. District Court level on a case in Texas where the judge seems to be indicating that he will rule that the ACA itself cannot stand, and that therefore the provisions for pre-existing conditions restrictions would be blown up as well, on the basis that the individual mandate was repealed as a part of tax reform. Anything else big going on tax or on
healthcare? You know, I would say you're going to hear a lot of noise over the Medicare for All. We talked about this a little bit before. Just know that we are part of a coalition with a very broad-based industry coalition. The only common denominator of the members of this coalition is we all support employer-sponsored insurance. Outside of that, and when we start talking about solutions, we're all going to splinter off. But it's broadly a messaging campaign. It's reminiscent of the Harry and Louise campaigns from the early 90s against Hillary Care. But if you see ads in your district run by a group called Center Forward, know that we are helping fund that. And it is just to talk about the strength of employer-sponsored insurance. And the message is pretty simple. It is don't break what's working to fix what's broken. There are 20 million Americans that get their insurance from the individual market, which you can't defend on what's happening right now. It is totally imploding. 156 million Americans get their insurance from employer-sponsored markets. You all know all the talking points on this. Don't break that. So we are working closely with them to get the message through. And they're only playing in districts and congressional races where this seems to be bubbling up. So you won't all see the messaging, and it's going to come from various organizations, but Center Forward is the one that's probably going to be most recognizable, so keep an eye out for that.
And on the property casualty front, biggest issue is flood insurance. They kicked the can yet again down the road, and that will expire at the end of November, so at least it looks as though we're going to get past the November elections. Lord knows what might happen in a lame duck session of Congress, particularly if there's a change in control. That throws open the possibility for all kinds of weird things on specific things that influence us.
And opportunities.
And potential opportunities, and potentially mischief in our space as well.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
With that, we thank you all. We want your feedback, so always feel free to directly email either of us at joel.wood@ciab.com or joel.kopperud@ciab.com.
All
the best to you.
Thank you.